think we can all agree that fingerpicking is beautiful, but it's just exactly where do you start? Well, this video is exactly for you if you're an absolute beginner to fingerpicking. I'm going to be showing you 2 different fingerpicking patterns that you could literally use for thousands of songs. There's going to be some play-along exercises that will start slow, and then will gradually build up speed so that you'll be able to fly on your own. First, let's define a couple of things that are going to help you to be able to read the tablature and be able to figure out fingerpicking patterns on your own. Each finger on your picking hand has a name. So P is thumb, I is index, M is middle, and ring finger is A. Sometimes you use your pinky, but most of the time it's used as an anchor. We're going to be using thumb, index, and middle for these fingerpicking patterns. Now let's learn your first fingerpicking pattern that you could use for literally thousands of songs. In order to become spatially aware of what's going on and just focus on one thing at a time, we are going to be plucking open strings. So our chording hand, it's just going to be hanging out right here, supporting the ukulele neck. My thumb is going to be assigned to the C string. My index will be assigned to the E string, and my middle will be assigned to the A string. When I pluck with my thumb, you can use your fingernail or the edge of your thumb to rest on top of the string. Gently apply pressure and then pluck down. The rest of my fingers are slightly underneath the strings, where you are going to be using the tip of your finger or maybe even your fingernail, and you're going to pluck up. So we have thumb, down, index finger, pluck more so up or at a 45-degree angle, and also the middle finger. So those are the basic mechanics of the finger picking of your fingers. Keep your finger picking hands nice and loose and experiment how much pressure or how hard you need to pluck the string in order to get a clear sound. You can see on the tabs that it's all zeros, and that means we're going to just get used to the pattern and pluck the open strings. So this is what pattern number 1 looks like. It's all on the downbeat or quarter notes, and it's thumb, index, middle, index. So my thumb is going to pluck the C string first, then my index will pluck the E string, and then my middle will pluck the A string, and then index will pluck the E string. So here's a play along exercise. Let's try that together. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Thumb, index, middle, index, thumb, index, middle, index, thumb, index, middle. Strum all strings. 2, 3, 4. Now let's add the chording hand. This is where the magic happens. I am going to hold a C chord, which is going to be the 3rd fret of the A string, and then all of the rest of my strings are open. So I'm going to hold my chording hand. I'm not going to do anything else but just hold this C chord like this, and then I'm going to continue on with the finger picking pattern that I just taught you. So it's the thumb, index, middle, index. Now you have something called an arpeggio. So we have sounds different from just the open strings, right? Now I'm going to add the C chord. So let's try a mini exercise together with the metronome so that you can hear how this all fits together, and then just get used to this finger picking pattern while you're holding a chord. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Thumb, index, middle, index, thumb, index, middle, index, C chord, strum. 2, 3, 4. Now that we've gotten used to one chord, we are going to start to add more chords. A C, an F, and a G7 to our current finger picking pattern. So if you look over here on the tablature, we have a C chord, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we switch to an F chord, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then to a G7. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 4, and then we have a C chord. We strum and we hold. So let's try that exercise with a metronome. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. F chord. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. G7. Go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Slide over to C. 2, 3, 4. Now there's something that you've probably noticed is that I'm just plucking these 3 strings, but then why am I holding an entire F chord like this? And I'm not even utilizing that G string. Well, the reason why I'm doing that is because it's more so of a safeguard, because if I have a rogue finger and I accidentally pluck that string, then it sounds like I meant to do it. Because we're not perfect people, sometimes we are going to make mistakes. And so just keeping that as a safeguard, holding the entire chord is going to be to your advantage, and then it's also going to keep those chords within your muscle memory. Now we have exercise 4 on pattern number 1, and it's the same pattern, it's just you'll notice that now I'm going to be plucking it on eighth notes instead. So it's going to sound like this if it's at 65. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So we have a C chord for 2 measures, switch to an F, and then we have a G7, and then to a C, and then we end it with a C chord strummed. So let's give that a try without the metronome. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and thumb, index, middle, index, thumb, index, middle, F chord. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and G7, 2 and 3 and 4 and thumb, index, middle, index. C chord. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 and 3 and strum a C chord. Now let's try that with the metronome. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. F chord. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. G7 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. C chord. C chord strum. 2, 3, 4. Now you're ready for pattern number 2. We are going to be utilizing the G string for this one. And that pattern is what I call the every other, because I'm going to be plucking every other string. So pluck the G string, then my index finger is going to be plucking the E string. My thumb will now move down to the C string, and then my middle finger will pluck the A string. So you see the every other, every other. Let's try that with a metronome on the open strings. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Every other, every other, every other. Strum. 2, 3, 4. Now we're going to be adding the chords, which adds the magic. So first we're just going to start off on a C chord, and we are going to be using the every other pattern. Okay, let's try that with a metronome. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 4. Now let's add more chords on the same finger picking pattern. Again, I'm going to be using C, F, and G7. So we have a C chord for 2 measures. Then we have an F for 2 measures. G7, every other, and then we strum and hold a C chord. Here we go. Let's try this with a metronome. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. F chord. G7. Strum and hold a C chord. 2, 3, 4. Now we have the same finger picking pattern on eighth notes. So we've laid a really good foundation, and now you're ready to try the every other on eighth notes. So with the metronome, it's going to sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Do you hear how it has like this bell-like quality, especially if you have a high G? It's just really, really pretty, just very unique quality. Now, if you have a low G, what it's going to do is you're going to have like this really beautiful, rich tone from the low G, and then you have the low, mid, low, high. There's just a really great sonic progression going up. So it's really, really pretty. Doesn't matter if you have high G, low G, it's still going to sound pretty cool. Let's try that with a metronome. We're going to be switching between C, F, G7, and C. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and F. G7. C chord. Hold a C chord. 2, 3, 4. Now those exercises are a great way to start, but you're probably wondering, wait a minute, how do I use this for any song? The title of this video is Fingerpick Any Song. Well, you can take these 2 gateway fingerpicking patterns and you can apply them to just about any song that you want. So when you have this one, which was fingerpicking pattern number 1, you notice that you have the eighth notes. We have thumb, index, middle, index, thumb, index, middle, index. That is equal to 1 measure or 4 counts. If you can figure out the counts of your song and figure out how many fingerpicking patterns fit within it, you really can apply it to anything. So let's give an example here. We're just going to choose some chords. We have an F, a B flat, and then we have a D minor. So I'm going to be utilizing fingerpicking pattern number 2 on the eighth notes. We have an F for 1 measure, a B flat for 1 measure, and then a D minor for 2 measures. So one fingerpicking pattern is going to be every other, right? And then the next B flat is still going to be 1 fingerpicking pattern cycle, every other. And then when we have the D minor, we have to double it because we have 4 measures of D, an additional 4 measures of D. So let's try that. Every other, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and B flat, D minor, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So you can take whatever materials that you have, whether a book that has everything laid out for you with the chords above and then the measures, or you could even take a chord chart, for example, like I have on my channel, and then you can figure out, okay, how many counts am I strumming this chord? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so if that's 4 counts, I can fit one finger picking pattern within that 4 counts. So you may have to experiment and just figure out, okay, is that going to actually suit the song or not? Usually these patterns, they can be applied to just thousands of songs. And if you're like, Katie, I want the next step, I just need some more practice, I got you. I have a series over here and it's free and it's called 15 Days of Finger Picking. So it's going to give you some more exercises. And if you're wondering, hey, I would really love to switch over from the ukulele to the guitar and you want to learn the stress-free way, my guitar course is over here. Check that out and I'll see you in the next one. Remember, you are loved. Bye.